Welcome yogis. Today's practice is a yin practice. If you've never practiced yin yoga before, it's quite interesting and somewhat challenging as well. All the postures are held for 3 minutes. There are no standing postures, there are no flows. It's really a mindful practice to get into our joints and the deeper tissues of the body. I'll explain as we go through in case you haven't practiced yin. If you have practiced, we're moving straight into our first posture, which is butterfly. The feet are together, spine is long. Now keep the spine as long if you have spine issues, and just open up your hips in this way. No spine issues, we're going to come forward into a forward flexion. You'll notice I've got lots of cushions and a bolster around me. Bolster can be made by having 2 pillows popped into one pillowcase, and you'll end up with something similar to this. So here we go into our butterfly. Each posture is held for 3 minutes. I'm popping the timer on. Take an inhale, and exhale, we'll take a bow. So we're just going to find our first sensation, our first, what we call in yin yoga, our first edge. So you do want to be aware of these postures, but you don't want to have any pain. Tingling, burning, shooting pains are all indications you need to back off out of the posture. So that said, we'll take another inhale and exhale, rounding the back now, bowing the head, just bowing the head into another edge. And if you're near your feet, you can take hold of your feet. You can also have your cushions popped in front of you and not bow your head at all. If your neck is vulnerable at all, you can support it. There are lots of different options for lots of different bodies. And then we bring awareness and we bow again. We want to be right deep into the lumbar spine in this forward fold, unless of course you've got serious back issues and you're seated straight up. And then we bow a little bit more. So when we round the spine, it really exaggerates the stretch of the tissues of the spine, particularly in the lower back, the lumbar spine area, and also into the pelvis. These are compressed hours every day by us sitting in chairs. It's 4 times more compression on that spine when you're seated in a chair than when you are standing. So we're really getting into the lumbar spine here. Take an inhale, and exhale takes you deeper. So I keep lifting my head, but feel free to have your head bowed. Now if you want to make it a little bit deeper into the hips and less into the spine, draw the heels closer to the groin, and then we're deeper into the hips. Just being aware now of that beautiful, just out of your comfort zone stretch of the spine and into the hips. So notice your next 5 inhales and exhales in this posture. And then very slowly we'll move out of this posture, nice and slowly, placing our hands on the earth, and we just arrive back in a nice tall position. And then we're going to bring those knees together and have long legs. So it can be quite challenging just to stay still in yin. And that's something to be aware of, how often we're always active in the mind and active in the body. And sometimes it's nice to just be still, because we're doing the most work when we're still, not only in the body but in the brain as well, in the mind as well. Fingertips behind you. Place your feet flat onto the mat and walk your feet nice and wide. And we're just going to draw the knees down to the earth. Now they may not arrive, doesn't matter. Just draw them down in that direction, all the way over to the other side. So we have a spinal rotation, we have internal and external hip movements. And if you're not very far down towards the earth, try taking your feet a little bit wider and it may be a little bit more accessible, depending on your hips. Just see how it feels. Nice, easy breathing. And then we'll come back up into long-legged seated posture again. And now we're going to open the legs nice and wide. And we'll have cushions if we want to sit on them. If you know that your forward bends are not as deep as you want them to be, then pop yourself on a cushion and this will take you into more flexion. If your hamstrings are tight, maybe pop cushions underneath the knees, which will help you with your hamstrings. And then we'll have our cushions or our bolsters in front of us. Have lots of cushions around so you can really support the body, because we want the muscles to be relaxed. They're not active at all. We're heading for the joints, the deeper tissues of the body. Again, spine issues, you may want to keep quite tall and just work into the inner thighs and the hips and the hamstrings in this manner. No spine issues. We're coming into that forward flexion again. Take an inhale, exhale into your forward flexion. The timer is on. Nice, easy breathing. And bow to the posture. So again, we find our first edge. And we acknowledge that it's not painful, it's just simply a little bit outside of our comfort zone. Not too deep, not too strong, a little bit Goldilocks, just a little tiny bit outside of our comfort zone. And then we settle into this forward flexion of the spine. Now the feet can be just floppy or they can be turned toes up, doesn't matter, whichever feels appropriate to you. You can always support your head if you want to. If the neck is getting too involved, especially if you're new to Yin, we can support the head. So when we are in our Yin postures, we're just fully aware of what's happening. We're opening up the body in a very passive manner. Take an inhale and exhale takes you deeper. You may want to take those cushions a little bit further away to allow you to come deeper. Nice, easy breathing. So keeping your head bowed if your neck allows you to do so. So why do we do Yin Yoga? Well, it improves our range of motion and our flexibility. It stimulates the growth of fibroblasts. These are the cells responsible for creating collagen. We all know about collagen. So they hydrates our muscles and our joints, improving our lubrication through the entire body, which will allow your muscles and joints to slide more easily. The other wonderful thing about Yin is that it keeps our skin looking younger as we're hydrating the body now. We're opening the body, the muscles are relaxed, and we're going into the deeper tissues of the body. You're bowing to your deepest posture that feels acceptable to you. Just a couple more breaths. And then slowly we'll rise. We practiced our 3 minutes. Some of these postures can be held for 5 to 20 minutes. 3 minutes is an acceptable time if you're new to Yin. I'm going to pick up those legs, move any things away from you. We'll do that movement again we did previously, which is called Windshield Wipers. And again, we'll just bring the knees down. I'm guessing that you're starting to feel something happening in the body. So you maybe start to feel, that's a little bit of a different sensation. So it's now bringing real awareness to your body. And also I'd like you to be aware of your breath in these postures. We can be really mindful in these postures. And then we're going to take the legs nice and long. Now tight hamstrings, you're certainly going to know about this when we come into a forward fold. So cushions can go underneath those hamstrings, so back of the knees. Spine issues, you're still keeping your spine quite long. I may have the bolster here and just keep the spine quite long. No issues, we're coming into that forward fold. So take an inhale and exhale takes you deeper into your forward fold. So now hopefully you're feeling it along whole back of the body, through the legs, through the spine. And if you're quite far forward, you're having some compression in the belly, which is great for digestion as well. And again, we bow the head if it feels appropriate, or we can support the head. Remember, cushions are here to help us do anything that we want to do. Nice, easy breathing. And again, we're bowing to these postures. I like to think of yielding to them, and then we just watch and see what happens with the body. And in this posture, maybe take a focus to your breath. So notice as you inhale, you lift a little bit, and as you exhale, you go deeper into your posture. And then we stay in complete stillness to allow the body to open up naturally. We're not staying in this posture as long as the other 3 minutes. We'll just stay in this posture about 2 minutes. It's quite an intense posture. If you don't want cushions, you can always pop your arms underneath those knees and draw down that way. In yoga, it would be known as Paschimottanasana. A couple more breaths. And then very slowly we'll rise all the way up. And this time we'll keep the legs long and we'll bring the fingertips pointing to the buttocks again. And we'll lift up the heart for a little tiny back bend. Nothing too intense, just a little back bend. And back to neutral. And again a little back bend, back to neutral, and one more, lifting up, and then come back to neutral. So maybe now that you're starting to feel a little bit warmer, we're really working into the body without jumping around and doing fitness. We're really getting into these joints and really mobilizing these joints. So the next posture is going to be the dragons. So we're just introducing you to the dragons. So we're going to, if you don't want to do the dragons, if your knees are compromised in any way at all, I'm going to show you a modification if you don't want to do the dragons. And you just lay on your back and draw your knee into your armpit and lift up. And you'd have something like a half dragon and you'll stay here. Okay, so it's the same movement, but there's no pressure on that knee because we will be on our knees for a little while. So that's an option to do. Coming with me for the dragons. Now you'll be pleased that they're not going to be for 3 minutes duration. So taking your cushions or your bolsters or whatever you have, take it to one side and bring the opposite foot forward. So the knee is tracking over the ankle. Roll your cushions in. And then this back leg, you're going to tuck the toe and walk it away. So you're going to tuck that toe and walk it away. So you want to have a feel really in the psoas here, this big hip flexor here. And you may just stay here. And that's a great posture. Again, cushions if you need them. depending on the length of your arms and depending on the body anatomy that you have. Where you want to be feeling it is right down here. This is the big psoas muscle, and this area gets quite tight. We're going to really open up this area in dragons. So if it feels good for you, roll your cushion in a little bit more, and the knee that's bent in front of you, take the same arm on the inside of that knee. Nice easy breathing. And now we're feeling it quite deeply. We can stay here, and that's fine. Or we can experiment and go a little bit deeper. We can bring one arm to the cushion and then the other arm to the cushion. And yes, I'm feeling it too. So just see what it feels like. Now, the foot that's in front of you, just walk it out to the side and point the toes out to the side so the toes and the knee are in line. And if you're in this position, you may want to take a twist. So we'll rise up a little bit and bring the hand to the cushion or to the floor, and the hand on the knee, and we'll take just a twist, gazing in the direction of that bent knee. Oh, I can feel this. And then slowly we'll come back to the center, and we'll come back to this position. Now, some of you may still just be in this position, which is absolutely fine. We're all going to take a nice counter posture, and you'll know about this nice counter posture. So whichever position you're in, you're going to come up, and you're going to bring that foot back, and you'll roll that cushion, or take your cushion to the other side, and lay on your tongue. Oh, that feels so nice. So you can just be aware of what's been happening. And we're going to do it on the other side. So we're going to bring the hands underneath the shoulders. We'll rise all the way up. And we'll walk the knees in. And then we'll take that other foot and bring it forward. And remember, if you want to, you can do these on the back. You're laying on your back and you just change the leg. Okay, the back toe tucks and we walk that back leg away again. So you can really get into this psoas muscle here. And we roll that bolster in. And some of us will stay high and enjoy this sensation. And some of us will go lower and enjoy that sensation. So just make a decision. And remember, one side's always very different to the other. So we're going to take same knee, same arm, take it inside. And then we'll lower. Or not, whatever the case may be. Nice easy breathing. And we'll settle here. And then the same foot and the same knee, we'll walk the toes out. And this just gives you a little bit more accessibility into the hips. And remember, you can stay in that first posture, or you can be on your back. All are hip openers. And then if you want to take the twist, we're going to rise up, take the hand to the knee, and we'll twist. Wow, that feels good. Take it easy, especially if you're new. These are the dragons. And then come back to the center. Bring the arms down again. Settle here. Remember that beautiful counter posture? I guess you're looking forward to it. We'll walk that foot in. We'll bring ourselves up. Hand outside, and we'll just bring that leg back. And down we go for our counter posture. And we're going to stay here for just a couple of breaths. Just really enjoying this counter posture. And again, bringing awareness of what's been happening in the body. Being mindful of what's been happening in the body. And then from here, hands underneath the shoulders, elbows tuck in, and we'll rise through a nice gentle cobra, rising up onto the knees, and we'll just walk the buttocks back towards the heels and settle into child posture. going to come into a nice little back bend. So coming into all fours, I'm going to lay on our tummies and take those cushions right underneath the chest, elbows over the cushions, feet together or apart, whichever feels appropriate. And we're here for 3 minutes. We're here for 3 minutes. And we can be really mindful of what's happening in the spine. Now, some of you may not be feeling this at all in the spine. It may feel just a bit too comfortable. So we want to just be outside of that comfort zone. So perhaps you're going to take that pillow away and come into Sphinx. So elbows underneath shoulders, and we're in Sphinx. And now if this feels a little bit too challenging, bring that bolster or cushion back and drape yourself over them again. So the beauty of your yin practice is that you can be mindful. So you can be mindful of your sensations. You can be mindful of your breath. Or you can even be mindful of your thoughts. And then you can be in the moment with full awareness of what's happening. Now, if this still feels a little bit too comfortable, then you can draw your heels towards your buttocks. And this will give you a little bit of a deeper back bend. And we'll be into that psoas area again at the front of the thighs and somewhat into the quadriceps above the knees. And again, we have one more option if you want to. If you've been practicing yin for a while, we have a posture called seal posture. So if you have been practicing for a while and you know your spine quite well, then take the feet down and we come up high onto the straight arms. So your pubic bone stays on the mat, so you feel the contact of the earth with the pubic bone on the mat. And this is much more compression in that lumbar spine. And you're going to feel a stretch in the belly as well. Doesn't matter where the shoulders are, they can be down or they can be up. That's not where we want our awareness. We want our awareness in the spine. See how it's feeling. Nice, easy breathing. And again, always come back to a position where it feels quite safe for you, just slightly out of your comfort zone. So we're moving out of this position, so anybody who's got cushions or in Sphinx or in seal, we're releasing down now to the mat. And take your hands underneath your forehead. And then draw your right knee up towards the side of the body. We're just drawing the knee along the floor. And then we'll gaze to the right. And just a nice little counter posture. And then we'll change sides. We'll just draw the other knee up along the floor and we'll gaze in the same direction as the knee. And then from here, we'll come back with long legs, hands underneath the shoulders. We'll rise through the cobra back bend, onto the knees, walk the knees in, and we'll take ourselves back into child posture. Another nice counter posture for back bends. And then we'll rise all the way up. And we're coming back into long legs. So nice long legs. And we're just going to have a little experiment, see what's happening, and see if we want to do these postures. So the legs are long, and we're just going to fingertips behind us, and we're just going to lift up the heart a little bit. So we have that little back bend again. Now, if you want to, we're just going to experiment. We're going to take your right leg and bend it backwards. That may work for you, or it may not work at all. So it doesn't matter. You can always just do that little back bend without that leg being in this position. We lift up the heart. And some of you may want to lower onto your elbows and stay here. So really, again, we're getting into this psoas area, this quadriceps. It's quite intense. Be high, you can be low. Nice, easy breathing. Just be aware. And then slowly we'll come all the way up. We'll roll to the long leg and bring that leg back. And then we'll try the other side. So rolling over helps you to bring that leg back. See how it feels. Either stay high, either go lower. Checking out how it's feeling all the time. And then maybe lean onto those elbows. So those who've been practicing yin for a long time, you know that you can do both legs at the same time and roll back onto your spine. I'm not going to do that in this video, but you know that you can do that if you want to. Nice easy breathing. Where are you feeling it? Are you feeling it? Couple more breaths. And then slowly we rise. And again, lean over to that long leg to bring that leg back safely. Good work. So we just finished now with a nice twist. And each twist will be approximately 3 minutes. I'm going to turn my back on you so that you can see what I'm going to be doing. So the first option would be to keep your feet flat onto the mat and roll over to the right. The second option would be knees over chest and wrap left over right, eagle your legs and then roll over to the right. So again, you can have cushions underneath this knee to assist you. Take the arms out. Nice easy breathing. This is called twisted roots. And we can either gaze in the direction of the knees to the ceiling or in the opposite direction. And lots of opportunities for lots of different postures. Remember, you can just have the feet flat onto the mat and roll over. You don't even need to cross the legs. You can bring the knees over the chest and then settle down a little bit deeper. Or you can have the eagle legs and over we go. I'm going to think about keeping your shoulders on the mat if you can, so that you can get this spinal rotation. So it's more important to have the shoulders settled on the mat than the knee coming down towards the earth. And I'm hoping you'll feel this in the spine as well. Just a nice spinal rotation. And again, gaze can be in any direction you want it to be for you to settle into the posture. And again, we bring mindfulness back into our practice. We are aware of the posture, the sensations, the breath, and our thoughts. And again, it can be challenging to be still. Be aware of that, accept it, don't fight it. Nice easy breathing. Starting to be aware now of your last 5 inhales and exhales in this posture. And then slowly we'll bring ourselves back to the center, unravel the legs if they're wrapped, and knees into chest and rock and roll. And then we're just going to take the same movement in the opposite direction. Remember, lots of options. Feet flat onto the mat, knees drop to the left. The other option, knees over the chest, knees drop to the left. A little bit deeper. And then the third option, eagle your legs, so wrap them around each other, take an inhale and exhale over to the left. Putting cushions underneath the knees if you need to. And again, we gaze in any direction that we want to be in. And we have our stillness. And with stillness comes awareness. And many people ask, how do I meditate? Well, it's very easy to meditate, because meditation is just awareness. Awareness on your breath, maybe. Awareness on looking at an object, maybe. You can even have sound awareness by listening to music. The meditation should never be challenging, it should be welcoming. It's just awareness for 3, 5, 10 minutes. Just be aware of one thing only. So we've completed our time in this posture. We're just going to slowly come back to center, unravel if you're raveled, and then bring the knees into the chest and rock and roll. So now bring your feet flat to the mat. And we're just going to take a nice relaxing position. So stretch your legs long. I'm hoping you're feeling something now. And open the arms nice and wide and open the legs nice and wide. And settle into Shavasana. And just bring your awareness to your body now. We won't stay here for long because we have been quite passive in our yin practice. But I want you to just be aware now of all the sensations in your body that have been created with your yin practice. And feel free to stay as long as you like. I'm coming up to say goodbye to you. Feet flat onto the mat. I'm rolling over to the side, using my hands to bring me back up again and back to seated. So thank you very much for joining me for your yin practice. Yin is one of my favourite yoga practices. The beauty of it is that you can do it every single day. when you're working with muscles in your yang practices, your hatha, your ashtanga, we need to have one day working and one day resting that particular part of the body we've worked. But with yin, we can do it every day. And the beauty about yin is that you don't even need to get your yoga mat out. You can sit in a yin posture. Why wouldn't you? You can read your paper. You can watch the TV in your yin posture. You can just open up your hips quite naturally by continuing to sit on the floor and avoiding any chairs. Chairs are your enemy, they're not your friends. This beautiful floor that we have always near us is our friend. Sit on it as much as you can, which will open up your hips, strengthen your spine, and it's just wonderful to do. So thank you for joining me. Namaste. See you on the mat or on the carpet.